Okay, good morning everyone and welcome along to today's Tide Masterclass. This one is titled Workplace Pensions for SMEs and our other paid plan benefits, excuse me. This is our 31st Masterclass since we started them way back in March. Really pleased to see a good number of people joining us live, and if you're watching this after the event on our YouTube channel or on on-demand service, great to have you along too, and thank you for finding us. Just a quick tour of Zoom and the platform that we're using today if you haven't used it before. We will be doing Q&As later. There's a Q&A button either at the bottom of your screen, at the top or the side, wherever you put that little toolbar. So use that to ask your questions as we go through. There's also a chat room. If you have any comments you'd like to make, please put those in the chat room, and keep an eye out for some resource links and live links to some resources that the guys will be talking about a little bit later on. So my name is Kuhn Hawker. I'm the event manager here at Tide. And for those of you who are new to us and what we do, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of our services. So we're the fastest growing online business current account provider in the UK. We currently have over 250,000 members, and our aim is to provide our members with a service that saves them both time and money when it comes to their business banking needs. We're great for SMEs and for startups and for freelancers. And as there's no credit checks or startup or monthly fees, this allows you to even try us out alongside your current business account provider and do a direct comparison on time and cost. The sign-up process itself, really quick and simple, takes between 5 and 10 minutes. At the end of that time, you'll receive your sort code and your account number, so you can start banking straight away, with your wonderful Tide card coming through the post a few days later. The app itself, really easy to set up and use, and we have a huge amount of in-app products that will make your banking life a lot easier. A couple of my favorites, the ability to see exactly where your money has gone and when it went there through our auto categorization tool, and the ability to send fully customizable and professional invoices as well. So you can use your company logo and fully edit the email that goes through the app too. You can also split your account into 4 sub-accounts. So you can have a sub-account for your tax, for your marketing, for your rent spend, or whatever it is that will make your banking life a little bit easier. I will talk to you a little bit later on about how you can make sure you stay up to date with what we're doing here at Tide in terms of events and in terms of the business, and how we're going to make it even easier for you to become a Tide member. But for now, we're going to get on with the show, as they say. I'm going to let the fantastic panel that we have along today introduce themselves, and we're going to start with Maria. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning. So my name's Maria Cuckoo. I've been at Tide now for just over a year. I initially joined to support the memberships, and now I'm the head of memberships and loyalty at Tide. And my main focus has been to help businesses or small businesses scale up. As you increase, so shall we. So that's me.
Brilliant. And Ceri, good morning, Ceri.
My name's Ceri Thomas, and I'm Head of Payroll and Partnerships at Smart Pension. Myself and my team are responsible for all of the relationships that we hold with payroll software companies like Sage and QuickBooks, and then we also are responsible for our relationships with our banking partners.
Fantastic. Great to have you along. Thank you for making the time this morning. And last but my name is Justine. Good morning.
Hi, I'm Justine, and I'm the Senior Consultant in the Payroll and Partnerships team at Smart. My role within Smart is to manage the relationships with our payroll partners, from their integration to their day-to-day queries. And I also look after our large payroll clients and our partnerships with the challenger banks.
Fantastic. What a fantastic panel we have, and thank you all again for joining us. So we're going to start this morning by talking to Maria briefly about the paid plans that we have here at Tide and how they can benefit your business. Maria.
Brilliant. So as most of you most probably know, or if you've yet to hear about it, we have a few plans here at Tide. One of them is our Plus membership. We have our premium membership, and we also now have our cashback membership. The great thing to know about our paid plans was it's actually quite a celebratory month for us, because it's been a year since we actually launched all of our plans. We introduced cashback in August, but it's absolutely great to see the journey that we have gone on our plans and the needs that you guys have all highlighted to us, so we can consistently develop our plans. The great thing to know is that our plans are not completely finished. We're always adding to them, always looking for new revenue streams for you guys and opportunities for you. Some of the benefits within our plans are, for instance, I'll just pull out one from each one. So with our Plus plan, now our Plus plan is our lower tiered plan, and that one has one of the benefits that I think, especially to date with the year, it has provided a revenue and a source of knowledge for our members. We have the legal helpline on this plan, which allows you to get free legal advice for your business, but also your personal life, which is something that up until now, a lot of SME banks have maybe not considered. With our premium plan, it was something that was introduced to provide that personalised face-to-face account management experience, which as we continue through the pandemic, we've been able to offer that service to our members. And then finally, we introduced our cashback offering. Now, this was originally launched in August, and it has had a great success. We've had hundreds of thousands now of people joining the plans or interested in the plans, and it's something that we know is exactly what we need right now. It's an opportunity for you to get cash back on absolutely any spend with your Tide Plus cashback card. And these 3 plans are absolutely great. It's what we feel would help you as you scale your business. But what is actually quite useful is at the beginning of the year, we did a number of surveys within different audiences in Tide and externally. And it was exactly what you've needed, which we've included. So the transfers fees, the opportunity for team cards, which we've launched. And up until, the end of the year, we'll be offering these team cards add-ons for free when you're on a paid plan. So there's all these different benefits that we've brought to you to kind of help you grow your business in these times. And I think one of the things that is really great and why it's so useful with Smart Pensions is we were looking at different benefits and partnerships that benefit you and things that we felt that were necessary for small businesses when they are starting up is pensions. Pensions is something that we've noted and seen from our members has been absolutely well received. Hence the reason why we partnered up with Smart Pensions, who've been able to deliver this for hundreds of our members and providing a service which is absolutely great. One of the benefits as well with Smart Pensions is our partnership is kind of unique in the sense that, I'll leave it for Ceri to say, but there's a little gift. So when you are on a paid plan, you kind of get some extra benefits. So I thought I might as well lead it over to you, Ceri, for what's next for memberships.
Oh, thank you so much, Maria. What a great introduction. Hello, everybody. So just today, we're going to cover off workplace pensions and what your responsibilities are as an employer. And as Maria said, Tide has recognised quite early doors that business owners need to be legally compliant with auto-enrolment legislation. So they've partnered with us at Smart to support you along that journey. Pensions can notoriously be complicated and confusing, so we're going to try really hard today to simplify them for you. We're going to give you a few key points to think about, things like which employees need to be enrolled into a scheme, if any. I think it's really important to remember that regardless of if your staff need to be put into a scheme on day one, you still have certain tasks as an employer that you need to uphold. So we're going to run through all of those for you. I'm going to really quickly just run through who Smart Pension is so you know who you're listening to. So I think the best way to introduce us is to say our mission statement. It's to transform pension, savings and financial well-being around the world, which is a pretty bold mission statement, I know. But we basically feel that everybody should have access to an affordable and a value for money pension scheme. So we use technology to make sure that pensions are accessible for everybody. We were established in 2014 by our co-founders, Andrew and Will. We've got over 65,000 employers that use our services and have over £1 billion asset under management. We've partnered with some of the biggest fund managers and asset managers in the world, and partnerships just enable us to keep on growing and to keep on developing our technology. So we've also expanded and we've got operations in Dubai, America, Ireland, and this year, well, actually next year, we're going to be going into Australia as well. So it's super exciting times for us.
Great. Just as a lead into the next section, Ceri, I think auto enrolment is a relatively new legislation. So maybe you can tell us a bit more about how it came about and what duties employers are expected to carry out and to be compliant with.
Of course, that's a really good question, actually, Kieran. So we get asked all the time, why do I have to contribute into a pension scheme for my staff? So I'll just kind of go through a little bit around the background of why auto-enrolment became a thing a few years ago. So a huge study was done by the government and something called the pensions gap was identified. So it was basically identified that the UK had an ageing population, so people were living longer, and the state benefits that were provided by the government just weren't going to be sufficient for people to be able to continue with their current standard of living. So the Pensions Act 2008 states that any employer in the UK needs to consider potentially enrolling their staff into a pension scheme. So basically, the workplace pension scheme should supplement the state pension. So you'll be drawing, hopefully, a benefit from the government and also from your employer. I'm going to talk a little bit about the state pension because this might be relevant. It's obviously going to be relevant to your staff, but it might be relevant to you as an employer if you've ever been employed before you became self-employed. So it's always good to know what benefits you might be entitled to once you hit retirement age. So in November 2018, the state retirement age was 65 for men and women, but that is increasing gradually. So just for example, my state retirement age is 67. I hope it doesn't go up anymore. It might be 70 by the time I get to that point. I hope not. But there is a really, really handy calculator on on gov.uk, and you can work out how old you will be at retirement and how much benefit you may be entitled to. Just to give you a little bit of food for thought, if you have worked for 35 years and paid full national insurance, you should be entitled to full state pension, which is the grand amount of £175 a week, which is a little over £700 a month. And I think, you know, when we get to retirement age, we hope that we're not going to have a mortgage in place. Some people may still have a mortgage, but we're all still going to have council tax and our utility bills to have to factor in. And I think £700 a month probably won't be enough to have any disposable income left, which is why workplace pensions were brought in to supplement that state benefit. It's also important to remember that the government also includes something called a triple lock. So it's just to protect the pension amount. So it should, in theory, go up from £175 each year just by the rate of inflation at least. I'm going to look now just at the duties that the employers need to uphold. So there's quite a few duties that you guys as employers need to be mindful of whilst looking at pension schemes. So under the Pensions Act, as I've said, in 2008, every employer in the UK needs to consider which staff go into a scheme. This legislation is called auto-enrolment, but you might hear it being referred to as AE, or you might hear it being referred to as workplace pensions. It's all one and the same thing. So sometimes, you know, accountants might call it an AE scheme. It's just not to confuse you. It's all the same thing. We're going to look at now there's 4 or 5 main duties that you need to do, and we're going to run through them in detail so you can kind of make a note and you know what's required of you. So the first one is your duty start date. So your duties begin the very first day that you take on your very first employee. So as soon as you take on that employee, you should be thinking about setting up a scheme and enrolling them into that scheme. I just want to add a caveat here. Please do not think that people don't get this wrong, because they absolutely do. I can see Justine nodding here. The number of people that we help that either haven't set their scheme up in time, they've set it up totally wrong, or they've set it up and they don't know how to pay us the contributions. It happens daily. So if you're listening to this session and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I've got an employee and I haven't done any of this, don't panic. Reach out to us at the end of this session and we will get you to the point that you're compliant. So just want to let you know that it happens all the time.
Okay, just a quick question on that. Sorry. So if somebody had set up or hasn't set up somebody at the right date, for example, will there be a backdating option on that, or is that's a mistake you've made and you just have to deal with it? Or
yeah, so what we do is we advise the employer to reach out to the pension regulator, and the pension regulator will provide them guidance. Okay. 9 times out of 10, we will support them with getting the scheme in order, and it's just backdating the contributions that should have been paid. But we can kind of facilitate that with them and just make sure by the time you get off the call with us, you're where you need to be. But it does happen all the time. So the next thing that you need to do as an employer is assess your employees. So we've got a slide about this literally in 2 slides time. So I'm going to go into that in a bit more detail then, but just to give you a little bit of food for thought. If you use a payroll software, something like Sage or Xero or QuickBooks, that software will assess your employees for you. So every time you run your payroll, it will pop up and it will let you know if staff need to be enrolled into a scheme or not. But we will go through how to manually do that just in case. There's something called, so communications, it's not on that list, but I'll just go through it anyway. So communications and record keeping, this is really, really important. You can't just say to your staff, do you want to be in a scheme? And they can't just say yes or no. It has to be documented, it has to be worded in a certain way, and you have to keep it for an audit trail. So you need to communicate with them to let them know if they're eligible for the scheme, if they're not eligible for the scheme, when they've opted in, when they've opted out. The nice thing is that if you do decide to use Smart as your pension provider, we do all of that free of charge for you. But if you are going to do it yourself, just be mindful that you need to be looking online for some templates, using the correct wording and keeping it all as a record for the pension regulator. There's something called the Declaration of Compliance. Now, the Declaration of Compliance is basically a form that needs to be completed after you've set up your scheme and assessed your employees. So it allows you as an employer to tell the pension regulator what you've done to be compliant with this legislation. Again, I keep repeating this fact, but even if you don't have any staff that need to go into the scheme, you still need to go online and you still need to complete this Declaration of Compliance, because the pension regulator will audit it, and if it's not completed or if it's done incorrectly, they do issue fines. And we sometimes see fines of £400 a day until it gets done, so they can mount up pretty quickly. Again, if you need support, if you think you've done it incorrectly, even if it's with another pension provider, just reach out to us and we can support you to make sure you're where you need to be. And I hate saying this bit, but pensions is the gift that keeps on giving, guys. So it's not a one-off thing, unfortunately. You can't just do it once and then forget about it. It's cyclical. So every 3 years, at least, you need to re-engage with people that said no to going into the pension scheme, and you need to give them that opportunity again. And I suppose that's pretty obvious why, but you know, people's financial situation and personal situation might have changed. So 3 years down the line, they just might be in a position where they can contribute to a pension. So they are the 5 main duties that you need to do. If you can just flip to the next slide, Ewan, please.
Sure.
This is a screen grab of our employer platform. Now, not all pension providers will have this, but all pension providers will need something similar to this. It is super easy to set up a pension and become compliant with Smart. I literally can set up a pension within 3 minutes. But I have worked at Smart for 5 years, so maybe that's an unfair tally, but it shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes to set up a pension on our platform. All you need is your basic business details. So your company name, your name as a director, your employees' details, your registered trading address, and your pay-as-you-earn tax number. That's literally all you need. Again, just to kind of repeat, everything that we do for you will be at no cost whatsoever as an employer. So all of those duties on the previous slide that we've just run through, we will take care of all of them for you. I just kind of want to point out, because of the partnership that we've got with Tide, if you go into your Tide business account and you click on the perks section and click on the Smart Pension logo, there's a link to come through and do this directly with my team. So rather than just going on the website and just having no preferential rates or no support, if you access us through your perks section, you will come directly through to my team and we can reach out and actually go through the process with you as part of our relationship. So we're going to go on to the next slide, which is a bit of a meaty slide, and it talks about those 4 different, it doesn't look meaty on there, but it is quite meaty in terms of what we're going to talk about. So we're going to look at the 4 different types of categories that your staff could fall into. And again, whatever category they fall into, you need to update that Declaration of Compliance to tell the pension regulator that you've categorised them into one of these 4. So the first type of employee is called the eligible job holder. So there's somebody that's between the age of 22 and state pension age. They earn over £833 a month, which is about £10,000 a year. Now, these people get enrolled automatically into the scheme. So when the scheme is set up, for argument's sake with Smart, the employees will be added and they will instantly be enrolled into that scheme. With an eligible job holder, it is up to them to opt out of the scheme. If they stay in the scheme, you as an employer have to contribute on their behalf. And the amount that you have to contribute is 3%. The employee has to contribute 5%. So the legal minimums that have been imposed by the government are 3 for an employer and 5 for an employee. If we look at the next type of employee, it's called a non-eligible job holder. So these people are between the age of 16 and 74, and they earn £512 or more a month. Now these people, when you set up your pension scheme, they don't get enrolled automatically into the pension, but they will receive a letter and they will be told, welcome to the scheme, you're eligible to join if you want to, but it's up to that person to join into the scheme. If they decide to join, again, as an employer, you have to pay 3% on their behalf. So eligible and non-eligible, the main difference is one of them earns over 10 grand and they go straight into the scheme and have to opt out. The non-eligible, they can still join, but they have to join. And if they stay, again, you have to pay 3%. So it's those two types of employees that you have to contribute on their behalf for. The third name is a really silly name. It's called entitled worker, but they're not entitled to very much. So that, I suppose, is going back to like the old confusing pension thing. So entitled workers, again, they will receive a letter. Our platform will do that for you. And if you don't use Smart, your pension provider can help you with some templates. But they will get a letter saying, hey, we've set up a pension scheme. You're welcome to join it if you want to, but I don't have to contribute on your behalf as an employer. So entitled workers can join the scheme and they can have the opportunity to save for retirement, but you don't have to pay anything towards them. And that type of worker is somebody that's between 16 and 74, but who doesn't earn £512 a month. Now, the last type of person that you might have working for you is somebody that doesn't fall into any of those categories. So perhaps somebody who's like over the age of 74. So that person doesn't have to join the pension scheme and you don't have to contribute anything. But again, you do have to update that declaration of compliance and you do have to send them a letter in the first place to tell them that they're not eligible. So it's kind of, everything is taken care of the Smart platform if you use Smart. If you don't, reach out to your pension provider and just check that they offer this service and if they've done it correctly for you. I think that's me now. I'm going to hand over to Justine to talk through about the different types of schemes that are available for you.
Thanks, Ceri. So as Ceri explained, state pensions from the government were set up to ensure that your basic needs are covered when you come to retirement. But the introduction of workplace pensions as a whole allows individuals and their employers to contribute to a pension scheme, providing a better standard of living at retirement. So you don't just have to worry about your bills and mortgage being covered, you might have a little bit more in your pension pot to spend on other things. So there are a few types. The first one on the list there is called a defined benefit pension scheme, and these are sometimes also referred to as final salary. So this is where your retirement income is based on a combination of your years of service at your employment and whether or not the pension is based on your salary or a career average of your earnings. So they work it out with what they call an accrual rate, which is basically a proportion of your earnings you get for every year you're in the pension scheme. So the nice thing to know about this one is your employer contributes to the pension scheme and is responsible for ensuring that there's enough money at the time you retire to pay your pension income. So it's guaranteed. Then the next type is a defined contribution pension scheme. So this is a work-based pension auto-enrolment, and they're also known as money purchase schemes. So this is based on the amount of pension that you pay into the scheme from the employer and the employee. So you need to consider how well the investments are performing with these ones, any charges that are applicable in the schemes. And it's also key to note that there is no guarantee on what the final pension amount will be. It's always based on what you're popping into the pension and obviously how it's looking, how it's being invested. And then you have the hybrid pension schemes. So these aren't as common as the standard defined benefit and defined contribution schemes. In hybrid schemes, the benefit is not solely reliant on the amount of contributions that are being paid into the scheme in the same way as a defined contribution scheme is. There are some additional benefits that kind of mimic what a defined benefit pension scheme is. And that's that. So can we go to the next slide?
Just a quick question, Justine, on
Of
the
course.
defined contribution with the investments and things like that. Obviously,
Yeah.
maybe a lot of people won't have knowledge of how investments work and stuff like that. I mean, what's the best way to, if you wanted to use that one, is there a sort of best way to understand investments and what the best investments are within a pension, or how you can just learn about those kind of things? I think it's kind of a bit of
Yeah, of
a
course.
dark
So
art of some people. When you
it,
understand it or a certain language, it's a
it
bit confusing.
It definitely is. So with most workplace pension schemes, especially like Smart, there's always a default fund that you get popped into. So it kind of fits between your ages, so on and so forth. So it's designed for you to go into straight away.
Yeah.
Then you have the additional options of going in and managing your funds yourself. And most pension schemes will have information readily available on those investments, what each fund does, what it looks like, and they have to provide an investment guide for you to have a look at. It's always also really important to note that if you are unsure, that's what professional advisors are for, to walk you through and have a look at, discuss, where you want to be at your retirement, what funds would be most suitable for you, and you kind of break it down for you and provide that additional guidance. You don't necessarily have to pay for that. There are free advice available that you can have a look into. Money Advice is one of those ones that you can literally log on and discuss something with an advisor, and they can give you that little extra bit of help. If not, if you were smart, pick up the phone and one of us will walk you through where all the investment guides are.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. That's clear. Great.
No worries. So I get the honour of going through the overview of the Smart Pension and Tide partnerships. So to assist you on your auto-enrolment journey and to help you gain compliance, Smart has teamed up with Tide to make things a little bit easier, providing you and your employees with a little bit more help. So employers can get a pension scheme set up in a matter of moments without any charge. As Ceri said, she can do it in 3 minutes. So once set up, we'll have a dedicated support walking them through the auto-enrollment process step by step, just to ensure that compliance. So you might be lucky and you might get me stuck on the phone helping you. So there are currently offers that are available from the Tide Premium accounts and Tide Standard accounts. So for the employees, for those on premium Tide accounts, the employees will receive 75p monthly preferential rate for 6 months, which is a 40% discount on our standard employee fees, which is massive. They'll also have full access to all our Smart Rewards, which provides hundreds of online discounts with known retail from grocery shops to tech stores and ASOS. So that's amazing. And also access to our full perks page. So you've got that priority onboarding, full relationship management with our team, and also access to all these nice little rewards that you can get on the side on top of the savings you're already making for your pension. So if we pop over to the next slide. Perfect. So this is just the Smart Pension offer for the standard Tide clients. The employers still receive all the same perks from the priority onboarding to the dedicated support team. But for this one, for the employees, they'll receive a £1 monthly preferential rate for 6 months, which is a 20% discount off the standard fees, so still really good. And also they get access to the full Smart Rewards and perks pages as well.
Can I just jump in here for a second, Justine, if that's okay?
Yes.
Perhaps just to make sure, I think I perhaps might have missed it out on one of my slides, but if you set up a Smart pension with Smart, regardless of if the people stay in the pension scheme, we will do it free of charge for you through this relationship. So imagine you have 5 employees, you set up the scheme and all of them opt out of it. We will still send all of the letters. We will still nudge you every 3 years. We will still keep an audit trail. We will do everything that you need to be compliant for no charge whatsoever as an employer. It's only if an employee decides to stay in the scheme that we charge them a monthly fee to manage the funds. So if you are listening to this and you haven't got a pension, it's just something to explore, because it won't cost you anything to get on the right side of the law. Justine?
Awesome. That kind of takes care of those slides. Are you all right to move on to the next ones? Perfect. So as Kieran mentioned, Tide pretty damn quick to get everything set up from opening a business account. So for those clients using Smart Pension, Tide will be offering some dedicated help from priority onboarding to providing free transfers for a whole year. With no worry about any sign-up fees or credit checks, a business account can be set up in minutes. And then I think there's just one last slide for me to look after. Perfect. So with all this in mind, Smart Pension has developed our Smart Pension employee app to make pension saving as simple and understandable as possible. ensuring that all employees aren't lost in pension technical jargon. So if they need any help and support, we have a full class customer service team available on the telephone, email, and our online chat facility to answer any questions that we may have. So at Smart, all employees and members have access to their own employee accounts where they can manage the scheme, from increasing their contributions and percentages, and where we notify the employer of this change, right the way through to managing the funds they're invested in, as we discussed earlier. So as a member, they can check their contribution totals in real time, so they can see what their employers provided to them and match it to what's coming out of their payslips, as well as receiving daily evaluation should they wish to as well. So as you can see, they'll see all their letters, notifications, everything is available on the app, ready to use. And if they have any questions at all, they've got a full support team ready to help them when they need it. And then one last slide.
Perfect. Yeah, so on this, we've just got some hints and tips and resources that the guys have put together. And the links for all these are now in the chat room. So please do look at the links there. And I think Justine will just talk about what these 3 points are.
Yep, that's perfect. The first one there is nice and simple. It's just the Smart Pension contact details. So we've got a dedicated Tide@Smart Pension email address for any of your queries, and that comes straight across to this team, and a contact number should you have any question or queries just with regard to the setup, or if you just want any information on what a Smart Pension looks like. The next one a bit on there is a calculator, just to have a look at your state pension age. Ceri mentioned that hers is 67. I don't actually know mine, so it's always worthwhile having a quick check. And then the last but not least is some helpful guides from our Smart support pages, right the way through from setting up a scheme to what the contributions look like, how they're calculated, and even bits of information on what the letters might look like that we give to your employees. So it's all available on there. Again, any questions or anything like that, just refer to the contact email and we'll happily walk you through.
Brilliant. Really, really great stuff, guys. Thank you so much. And those resources are excellent. And like we said, they're in the chat room now. So excuse me, if you want to get in touch with anybody, the contact details there, and then the links to the calculation, the step-by-step guide are in there too. So just before we get onto the Q&A section of the masterclass, please do get your questions in. We haven't got any through yet, so give you a couple of minutes just to do that now. I just wanted to give you a bit more information about Tide and what we do. So if you're new to Tide and what we do, please remember to head over to our website and have a look around. If that's too much effort for you, don't worry, because next week all of you who are attending this masterclass will receive an email from us. On the email, you'll have a link to rewatch the masterclass video. And then also, if you're not one of our 250,000 members, there'll also be a link on that email to allow you to sign up. All you need to do is to click that link, download the wonderful Tide app, follow the really easy instructions, and be able to start using Tide for all your business banking needs. For links to all our previous masterclasses, there are 30 that we've done previously, or information about upcoming events, please visit our blog site or our events page, links to which are now in the chat room, wherever that is on your screen. We of course have a YouTube channel as well, so please find the link to that along with all of our other social channels in the chat room. So go and like and subscribe and stay up to date with what we're doing. If you're watching this on YouTube, fantastic. Thank you very, very much for finding us. All the links that we discussed in the session and all the social links are in the description below as well. And do remember to like and subscribe our channel, have a look around and see what other videos we have on our masterclass session. During the Q&A session, I will try and run a quality poll as well, so please do take part in that. So let's have a look at some of the questions that are coming through. I've got one for you guys, and it was about, so I wonder, does a non-UK employer have any duties in respect of of employees in the UK? Sorry. You're on mute, Ceri, sorry.
I thought I was going to get through the whole session then without doing that.
So close to getting through.
Oh, gosh, but I gave a really good answer, guys. She really didn't hear it. But yeah, any employers that have an employee in the UK, whether or not their head office or the company is based in the UK, they have to comply with UK legislation for pensions. Okay,
that's really interesting. And one other question I had, we're still waiting for some questions to come through. Any questions you guys have, please do get them into the Q&A section on the bottom of your screen there. And I guess what should people look out for when choosing a pension scheme for employees as well? I guess that's an interesting one for people to know.
I can take that one. Sure. Mute, not on app. So there are various things that need to be looked into choosing a pension provider, and it's not just about the costs and charges to your employees, although that is really important. So for instance, what is the default fund available in the pension scheme? What type of investments are available? Are they diverse enough for your employees? And is the pension provider user-friendly? It's really key to note that although it may be a workplace pension, the employees will have pension pots with the provider even after they stop working for the employer. So it's always great to consider what that might mean for them in the long term when it comes to managing their scheme and what retirement might look like for them. Then there are also the costs and considerations for you as an employer. Are there any charges on setup? What does that look like? Does the pension provider integrate with your payroll software? So that's a really key one to note, especially in the industry that we work in. Is your payroll software linked to the pension provider? Is that going to be an extra work for you? So what would your extra tasks mean for you day to day? It's always key to note that the pension is now seen as an extension of your payroll duties. So it's always a great place to start. Say I've got X payroll software, what pension providers work well with that? What would that mean for the employees? And the most important thing is don't be afraid to ask questions. You need to feel comfortable with your choice. So pick up the phone, get to know them, ask all the questions that you need to, and then if you're comfortable, by all means, go with it.
Okay, fantastic. And Andre Lewis has got a couple of questions. Andre, the one about the signatories, I will come back to you via email after the event. I just want to make sure I get the right answer for you on that one. But the one about pensions is saying, do you cover international pensions? Are you able to connect or recommend wider benefit providers? Ceri, on mute again.
Oh, gosh. Oh, I'm kicking myself now. Hi, Andre. I was just texting you back, actually, but I'll do it on video. So Smart Pension is only a UK workplace provider, even though we've got presences in other countries. So it depends what country you require a pension in, but we can absolutely support you with making a connection with another provider that we have partnerships with. I'm just going to ping you an email directly to ask for your email address, and we can pick it up offline if you like and connect you with somebody.
Perfect, that's great. And he's also asked, are you able to have two different levels of pension contributions? Are you one for senior leadership?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, many people do actually contribute differently. So employees can contribute more than the minimum, and also employers can. So for argument's sake, I pay more into my pension scheme than I need to, and also Smart pay more than the legal minimum on my behalf. So some companies will pay perhaps managers a higher level than other staff, or they may segment it depending on work grade. Yeah, but yeah, you can.
And I'll share Andre's email with you after this.
Perfect. Okay.
That's okay. Okay, well, I think we've reached the end of the session, and I don't think we've got any more questions that are coming in. But like I said, if anybody on the call or on the watching it on YouTube has any questions, then my email address, the event's email address, is in the description or in the chat room as well. So please do feel free to send any questions you have.
Actually,
oh,
I'm just going to actually quickly add something, because I don't know if all of you know, part of the cashback offering and part of what we're trying to do during this time for our members is up until the 27th of November, we'll be applying discounts to anyone who's joined the webinar, anyone who's watching this and would be interested in possibly trying out our cashback plan. This is something that's actually usually costs $59.99, but just for this period of time, we're actually offering this for free. We're going to give it to you till the end of the year. And hopefully, Ceri and I are working day and night to make sure that by the end of November, pensions and smart pensions will be included in the cashback offering moving forward. Currently, it's in our plus offering, which is $11.99, and we also have it within our premium offering. But once we can get it into cashback, it will mean that you can even start earning on everything. So that's a bit of a gift from us to you guys. Call it your Black Friday sale until the 27th of November.
Wonderful. That's great. Another great reason to be a Tide member. So I think, yes, unless we have any more questions coming in, which we don't, we will leave it there, and we will look forward to welcoming you to future masterclasses. Please keep an eye out on the events page, like I said earlier, for listings of all the other masterclasses that we have coming up in the next couple of months. But for now, thank you to Justine, Ceri and Maria for a fantastic session, and we look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Thank you very much indeed, and have a great day.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.